On the surface, Great Yarmouth might appear an ordinary seaside town on the east coast of England, but it is here that the first tremors of a potential political earthquake are being felt. People across Britain are heading to the polls this May, and the UK Independence Party are hoping to make a big impact. With their anti-EU mantra, Ukip are favourites to win the European elections, but it is the local elections taking place up and down the country where real footholds could be made. Last year's local elections saw Ukip leap from having 8 council seats to 147, making great strides in Suffolk, Norfolk, Cambridgeshire and Lincolnshire. The party are hoping for even bigger gains this time around in these areas of eastern England, and if the party is to break into Westminster in 2015, then it needs to become a domestic force in places like Great Yarmouth.
I think traditionally over time I think this is going to be our area of strength. These sort of seaside towns are going to be an area of strength for Ukip, but I don't think that means to say that we're not going to get strength in other places. We're focusing very much in the Great Yarmouth branch, very much focused on the Great Yarmouth local elections. We want to get as many councillors as possible, and you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility this year it would become the official opposition at the council. That's really what we would like to achieve this year. What goes on in the Euros, the main party will sort out, and I'm absolutely certain we're going to get 3, maybe 4 MEPs in the eastern region, but I think what's more important for the party is that we build up council bases in constituencies like Great Yarmouth.
Aged just 26, Matthew Smith is not your typical Ukip member. Voted into Norfolk County Council along with 4 other members of Ukip last year, he has seen membership in the area grow from 20 to almost 100 people. If the party's local share of the vote from last year was replicated in 2015, it would win in Tory-held Great Yarmouth, and Smith, running as a candidate, hopes to become one of the first Ukip MPs in Westminster.
I think that would be really exciting for me and I think for the party, because I don't think that I necessarily fit the Ukip stereotype. I think that would be good for the party, and I think certainly it would be good for Yarmouth to be a focal point of politics, and I'd like to be able to use that to help the constituency.
An isolated town hit by a failing economy and fears over immigration, there is a sense that places like Great Yarmouth have been forgotten by Westminster. The people are disillusioned with the current political elite, and it's as a protest vote that Smith and the various Ukip members in the town running as councillors hope to exploit.
I think the main parties are really interested in London most of the time, or big cities. They don't look on the outside and say, well, actually there's people around elsewhere.
At the moment I think with the Labour and the Tories, they don't live in the real world. When I started my business and now that they've done nothing to help my business. Yeah, basically Ukip, I think, just at the level of the working class people. I look at it from a working class point of view, and I think they would represent this country better than what we have at the moment.
People are just fed up with the bickering between the two parties, the 2 main parties. They're fed up with that bickering. They don't want to listen to that anymore. They just want someone who's going to offer them fresh hope, you know, and they feel that it's us, because we're not career politicians. We're not. We're just ordinary people, little people in a little town, you know, who just want to do the best for our area. It's as simple as that.
Lynn Connell and Carl Anderson are just 2 of the 13 Ukip candidates hoping to gain the party's first seats on Great Yarmouth Borough Council. Such an impressive feat would prove that Ukip can win elections and help pave the way for the party to succeed here at the general election next year. With the UK's first past the post system, building up strongholds in areas like Great Yarmouth is the only way to break into Westminster.
I mean, you have to think back, you know, maybe 20 years to what the SPD, SDP and the Liberals did when they built up local bases through localism, and I think the Liberal Democrats have lost their way with that. They've become, you know, very much enamoured with the Westminster bubble, and they've been sucked in. I think it's important Ukip don't get sucked into the Westminster bubble, and do remember that localism is the key to everything, because at the end of the day it's the voters that vote you in and it's the voters that can vote you out.
At the moment it's too weighed in the favour of national issues, and there's no balance for local issues. I think going local is the way forward. Local jobs for local people, local housing for local families, or we won't have community.
It's down to earth, ordinary people. Basically with me being in Ukip, I can still basically sort of say what I feel. I ain't told what to say, and that's what people want. You get too many Tory and Labour councillors basically told what they've got to say. This is the problem. and I want to represent the people of this ward and bring their views on board.
Rather than its broad views over Europe and immigration, it's the intense localism of UKIP, as a party of the people outside the corridors of Whitehall, that appeals to the people of neglected regions such as Yarmouth, who are dissatisfied between the three major parties and feel they no longer have a voice. Its bottom-up structure has served them well so far, but its chaotic and ill-disciplined nature and lack of concrete policies means that achieving anything once in power will be a lot more difficult. Winning is very different from governing, and the one overhanging question for UKIP is, can they prove themselves as effective in office as they do as outsiders? If disillusionment with the major parties continues and support for UKIP grows, we will soon find out the answer.